Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Wonderland. Today we're going to be answering a question that I searched for everywhere, kind of got answers all over the place, but not the best answer that I was looking for, so hopefully we can decode that and unravel that today and find, like, for sure, hundo % proof of this question. Oh, sorry, that question is Furiors. Do Furiors, Pixies, Furiors, Guns with Wings count as what? Do they count? Also, which one is better? Is it better to build companion damage? Because I've heard from a lot of people that Guns with Wings are considered companions, and Pixies are considered something. Gun damage, maybe. But I don't know if that's 100% true, and I wanted to make sure I knew both. Now, here's the thing I do know. I went with the assumption that companion damage was with Guns with Wings. And my Guns with Wings did almost nothing. Even though I hyper invested them, I got double rings that buff companion damage, and even more companion damage. And even if it's true that they do dip into that formula, it's not enough to make them better than Pixies in the slightest. Yes. But let's get into it. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that is also evident is that there is insane variability on Pixies regardless of what you want. Also, I would highly advise you guys going for these. Pistols have a very, very high base damage, and you can even find some that are ×2 damage-wise, which is insane. And you can find them in thrown weapons becomes Guns with Wings, and you can also find them in thrown weapons become Pixies. Although I will say, if you can get crossbow bolts deal 6% increased damage for each subsequent bolt stuck in the targets, that can get crazy and really crazy really fast. I can't stress that enough, because what this says is crossbow deals 5 or 6% bonus damage for crossbow stuck to the target. Bullets last 4 seconds. They do not specify that this has a cap on it. So if you have 3 Pixies or Guns with Wings flying around, just constantly barraging and hitting one target specifically, you're just going to see their damage go like and just get like crazy melted. It's very, very cool and interesting interaction, and again, massively useful for people who are specifically using Pixies, where you have 3 Pixies following one person and just melting them, allowing them to take exponential more damage from the gun itself. So that is, I think, partially maybe why this is working so well. But let's get into it. And you guys might be asking, well, Grin, how are we going to test this? I'm glad you asked. Wonderful. Okay, so what I have done, I want to get a baseline reading for what one gun does. So let's start with Guns with Wings. So I just want to see if people are correct in that and how much the damage gets exponentially scaled up based on companion scaling rings and amulets and the whole 9 yards, okay? So we are going to take off all of our gear, every single one of our rings, all of our class mod, everything. Hopefully I made enough space to do this. Oh, sure, we'll keep this one on. On spell cast, we do fire damage. None of the spells or none of the weapons we're going to use is going to be fire weapons, so we're fine. We'll keep that on. Also, it's a sham, so it'll keep us alive. We're also going to take off all of our spells, because spells can give you on spell cast. Here's a bonus kind of thing. Excellent. So I have nothing, and the weapons we're going to be testing is this one on action skill start bonus, as well as this one, which is when thrown a weapon, it turns into a Guns with Wings, has no specific modifier on it. All we're looking for is if the damage jumps. That's their only metric. We're not buffing anything. Yeah, just fire damage. Okay, so now we're going to start the test. Now, by the way, I have also nuked my entire skill tree so that we're not getting any synthetic buffs here. And this is the thing that's interesting, really interesting, when it comes to Pixies, which I already know about. Okay, so for test 1, we are going to use the one that is just the basic bitch, this one. This the Guns with Wings. We have no companion application. I just want to see what this one is baseline being read as. Okay, so we got, so when crit, 900, otherwise 400. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna write that down. Okay, so we got it. So now we're gonna let that thing debuff. We're gonna let that thing go away. Come on, gun. Stop it. Guns with Wings last a hell of a long time. Okay, so now that we got our baseline reading, let's slap on a bunch of things that are gonna amplify our specific companion damage. We have a companion damage this, and we have a companion damage this. Where are you? This. So now we have basically, what is it? 30 damage amplification. When my ward is full, we're going to get double that. So it's just, all we're seeing is if it increases, then this counts. This counts as a thing. Although, let me see. Okay, so we don't have any stacks. Yeah, we don't have any stacks of our special thing. Okay, good. So we don't have any stacks of spell shot weaving. But it wouldn't matter because I'm pretty sure this doesn't count as spell damage anyway, whereas Pixies, you'd be surprised. But anyways, where is this person? We're gonna throw. Okay, I just got hit, but I wanted to see. Why is he bleeding? Oh, it's the shield. The shield has a bonus of blood. God damn it. God damn it. Okay, perfect. We have another person here. Okay, go. Okay, we have, it doesn't seem significantly better. So it doesn't scale up. What are people talking about? What are people talking about? It does not scale with companion damage. Yeah, I knew it didn't. I was like, I've heard this everywhere. It does not scale. God damn it, man. Guns with Wings is not scaling with that same thing we've seen. Yeah, 470. It's exactly the same thing we just seen. Again, the only thing that and this is the thing that I think people are seeing, when you start to throw Meteors and you're playing the spell shot, you're getting, what do you call it, stacks of the one thing. Now that increases your spell damage, which for this weapon, it doesn't increase, but it does for Pixies. Pixies, I think, count as spell damage. And we'll test that in a minute. But yes, we're getting the same numbers, if not a little bit lower within their variability. But yeah, no, nothing. And let's see if maybe it's different. Maybe that guy had different resistances. No, 470 on a non-crit is what we were seeing. Yeah, and around 900 is what we were seeing beforehand too. So yeah. Okay, so that's put to rest. At least pistol. Maybe people want to say it's a specific. That'd be shocking to me if the code got that fucked up. That everything was kind of that varied. Like a pistol Furiors were this, but then SMG Furiors were considered companions. I don't see it be happening, boys. But now let's see if do I have anything that can increase gun damage? Because I feel like that would increase the damage. Yes, on spell cast get gun damage. Perfect. I don't think this is the thing either. Yes, okay. So on spell cast we get gun damage. Let's see. We're gonna do one of these. $500 and yeah, so on non-crit we got a little bit of a bonus there. On non-crit it's around 5. Well, if I could fucking see where my guy is. 500 damage. Yeah, 500 and 960. Yeah, so we're getting a more consistency. If I use that again, just to see. But it doesn't seem like it scales off exponentially off of gun damage. If I could just find where my goddamn thing is going. Yeah, 479. So yeah, honestly, I don't even know if it scales. But maybe, yeah, because it definitely has been six seconds since that. So I don't think it scaled off of gun damage either. I'll try that again, but every time we activate a spell, we're getting bonus damage. But that seems like the Guns with Wings don't scale off of gun damage nor companion damage. That's not what I've been hearing everywhere else. So what the fuck? Community, come on. Okay, spellcast, and then this. Okay, we just did 1,000. Actually, that's a pretty huge increase. Okay, so now it's counting. So now it's critting for 1,000. So I wonder what was happening beforehand that it wasn't. Anyways, yeah, now it's working. It's critting for 1,000. So it does scale off of gun damage. 620. Yeah, it's more of a non-crit. So yeah, it does scale off of gun damage. Okay, so it was just being weird. Yes. Okay, so it is scaling off of gun damage. Okay, so Guns with Wings does not scale off of companion damage. It scales off of gun damage. That makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, that's not what I've been hearing around. People say, no, it's companion damage. It's not. It's not. Anyway, now here's the big pooba. So Guns with Wings scales off of gun damage, not companion damage at all. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, Pixies. Does Pixies count as gun damage? It does not. Well, first we need to get a baseline. A baseline reading, let's take off this thing here so we're not getting weird skewed gun damage. Perfect. So we're going to use not the fire one because we're accidentally buffing that one. Perfect. Now, this one we're going to have to get the first couple shots because the more shots impacted, the more damage it's going to deal. I apologize. I don't have another fucked up version of it. Let's see. All right, we're just going to have to be real careful. We're just going to shoot this real quick, and because the more bolts it gets hit, the more weird damage it's going to deal. Okay. So that seems like what we're dealing with. 490 on non-crit. But you can see how fast they're shooting that thing, and those all count as bolts. So the damage is going to exponentially go on or up as 6 minutes goes on, because it's 6 minutes until they start dropping off. But anyways, we're seeing 449, and that is That is the non-crit. Okay, I just want to make sure that that was the crit thing, right? Yeah, we're seeing 544 on the high end, 490 on the low end. Yeah, same thing. Actually, the damage isn't increasing. Okay, so maybe it doesn't. I wonder what's at play then. But then we also see stuff like that, 184. So is that what it is on the low end? Which kind of makes more sense for the crit disparity. Yeah, I think that's more of what is the non-crit. I think we're just seeing some weird mess. Anyway, so on the low end, it seems like it's 180. On the high end, 544. On the low end, 180 to maybe 492. I think that's just some sort of weird spaghetti nonsense sauce thing. Anyways, so now let's slap on some companion things and see if that's going to increase the damage exponentially. All right, let's slap on my companion rings. Excellent. Okay, here we go. Well, can we not stand in a thing? Okay, so yes. So people are wrong. I kept hearing people say companion damage is not stacked with the Pixies. I bear the, you know, fuck off. It absolutely does. Companion damage scales of your Pixies. That's 1,700, which was 540. That's a huge increase of damage. And maybe it's this guy that's fucking it up. Well, he's out of the damage now. 700 and something. Okay, now I feel like the maybe we were looking at the barrel. Let's back up. Let's see. Let's go. Fresh take. Fresh person, not affected by any shit. Let's go. No, fucking this guy. This person. Yeah, no, that's a big damage increase. That's 7. Oh my goddamn controller. Stop it. Yeah, then that's a huge damage increase. We went from like pennies, 544. Now we're going to 766. That's an increase by wearing the companion ring specifically. Okay, that is an increase. That's all I want to know. So we do scale based on companion damage, Pixies specifically. But Pixies do not count. Oh, actually, I can't even see if Pixies count as faithful. But no. Pixies count as companion damage. That's what we've learned. I should make a little note here. Okay, so we have an answer to that question. Brilliant. Now I want to see something else. I want to see what happens if do our Pixies scale off of spell damage? Because I think actually they might. They very well might scale off of what do you call it? Spell damage. Also, I duplicated these for those of you guys who are wondering. That's why they're a carbon copy of each other, because it's hard to get a volatile thing, man. What do you want from me? Anyways, but yes, we are getting a huge increase in spell damage with just these two. So this should be a pretty good test case for whether we're going to see a difference. Let's actually just load out and load back in. Let's go. But we do know Pixies scale off of companion damage. That's something I kept hearing people say, not that. And I was like, what the fuck? But I remember like I was using Guns with Wings with a Pixie, with a companion build with my rings and necklaces. And then I just switched to a Pixie and I just seen them melt shit. And I was just like, that's not what I've been hearing from like everybody. Anyways, let's do this. This. All right, well, he teleported away. Is there a person right here? Okay, perfect. You. No, you're not the same person. Yeah, I need the same guy. I need the same, like, resistant shield. That's what I want. That is the man. This. Okay, we got 600. 600, 700. That's an increase. Yeah, so Pixies count as companion damage and spell damage. Okay, that's what I thought happened. But I didn't hear anybody say that, because that's a huge increase. I don't even know is that a crit? No. No, wait. Why did we just hit? So, I'm a little lost now. So on the high end, we're seeing 738 but also there's 1,000 in there. Did my shield break? No, I just seen 1,000 in that whole loop. You know, there's definitely 1,000 in there. So does that mean, yeah, no, that's an increase, whatever way you shake it. I am seeing 186 in there, which I'm curious what the hell that is, but because that's what we are in the low end, but I am seeing 1,000 also. And this guy is the same thing, right? Yeah, see, I'm seeing 2,000 in there. What? And that's not, I'm not casting a spell. It's not my Hydra. My Hydra wouldn't be doing cryo damage. So yeah, no, Pixie damage weirdly scales. It seems like sometimes I mean, I guess it does scale in every way. We're seeing 7, but our baseline for Pixies without any sort of activation of spells or anything, or any sort of spell rings, is 540, and we're seeing a 738, I think, on our base, and a critting of what was normally 540 is now 2,000, which, because we're having 40 damage again with our things, that kind of checks out. Also, we have something in here called Oh, okay, so that may muddy the water a slight bit. But maybe it's ability damage, or maybe it's ability damage 2, which is insane. If it's scaling off of 3 things that we can leverage. Holy shit. Let's take off all of this so we're not skewed again, and this time let us put on a spell that can give us ability damage on spellcast. Perfect. No, that one's bad. That one's gonna give us just stupid damage amplification on a base. Perfect. Okay, on spellcast, increase ability damage by 30. Okay, so this should give us a pretty good perception. Also, that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, the 20% would not give us like a 2,000% a change of damage. That would be like 40 or something percent. Anyways, let's see. We're gonna cast a spell. Bang. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna see those numbers. No, it's not that. Well, it's a little bit of an increase. No, it's not. It's not. Unless that's the soft number. Let's see. No. So yeah, ability damage does not count. This thing scales off of companion damage and spell damage, which is something that I've seen. I think the reason why people are getting fucked up by it is because I think people forget about what's happening with spell weaving. When you cast a spell, you get a stack, but you also get a stack when you reload. So I think people don't know by hucking these TDRs and looking, you're getting stacks, and it's increasing your spell damage, which is making people think that it's going up when it's not. Which is why you need to be careful when you use this. That's why we're trying to be a little bit careful when we're chucking these and like slowing. That's why I'm only chucking one and looking, and we're going based off of that first throw. But yes, so we have concrete information now that this thing scales off of companion damage and spell damage. Now, what did it scale harder off of? Oh, also, this is one more thing I wanted to show you guys. One more thing I wanted to test with you guys. So we're getting really good information here. I'm pretty happy about it. But, so we do know that it doesn't scale off of ability damage, which is really nice. I should have tested that with Guns with Wings, but I'm kind of all on the Pixie right now. So, what happens if we spend our points in this way? We are going to put points into a kill skill, which is cooldown rate. We're going to go with Faithful Thralls. No, we're not. Shit. Shit, I shouldn't have done that. Because that's going to give us damage dealt increase. Now I got to go spend my points and reset shit. I want to show you guys that just to confirm that they count as spells. Pixies count as spells, which is madness, but also really good because you can hyper scale up spell damage and companion damage, which scales off of companion damage as well. Which again is huge, but it seems like it scales way harder off of spells, a little bit off of companion, a good bit actually, but there is a specific necklace that increases damage based on kills up to 100% of companion damage, which is to say a lot of a lot. And maybe even, but I guess that's the question, do you use companion damage, like the amplification of companions within the Spore Warden, or do you use the Spell Shot, which amplifies spell stacks? I think Spell Shot stacks are just too damn good. But I'm so happy, man. This video is already, I'm well up, because this is the video I was looking for, because I was like, I'm confused on what I should build for, and why, maybe the way you're building specifically, you should do this. Anyways, maybe this is not interesting to anybody else, forgive me, but it's just my weird thing. Okay, so now what I wanted to show you guys was just to confirm these do count as spells. We're going to go ahead and put all of our points into this. We are going to put our points into this, which is the Fate Maker deals increased dark magic damage based on our spells, okay? So I guess we could put points into here. It wouldn't matter. So now we are going to put 5 out of 5 points into this, which all this does. So all we have is cooldown, we have the ability to do more dark magic damage, and now we have the ability for our spells across the board to deal dark magic damage of 20% of whatever damage they're dealing. It's going to be now dark magic damage on top of that, okay? So if we use these, Pixies particularly, check this out. You see those red numbers? Those are that's we don't have any amplification of blood, only on our spells, so they're dealing spell damage. Boom. Spell damage. Pixies count as spells, so if you're playing a spell shot, dude, definitely don't go with Guns with Wings, go with Pixies. Also, they attack way faster, so you're able to detonate your action skill if that's how you're building your character. But yes, but now I just want to know, I want to know what you should build, because there's the Spell Shot, which the Spell Shot, if you invest in your thing, you get things like Fire Rate, which don't really increase because it's scaling off the spell damage and companion damage. It doesn't scale off gun damage at all. Actually, did we test that yet? Actually, I don't think we tested that yet. No, let's see if the gun scales off of gun damage. That's the one thing we haven't tested, actually. So let's reset, and I want to see if we're better off building with the Spore Warden and just cranking a shit ton of damage for our companions and seeing if that made a big difference within our loadout. Because I think that might be the play if you want to, like, you just want to pump that, but also I don't know if it's worth. I think you want to go down the Graveborn just because of that like, and I'll talk about it in a build video I have coming up, but it's just because the Graveborn has so much built-in passive other damage, which is super good. Anyways, so real quick, easy test. We're just going to put on that same on action skill or on spell cast, get gun damage. Not that one. It's too good. Maybe do another one of those. Okay, I'm going to chuck this. Okay, well now we have so many numbers it's hard to keep track of. We have on the high end, we have 5... Yeah, we have 540. I don't think that's much of an increase, nor 590 for a 30% increase to gun damage. No, I don't think that would make sense. And that would honestly make sense. So Pixies scale off of spell damage and gun damage. I think guns with wings scale off of purely gun damage. That makes sense. Okay. Yes, and I don't think our skill tree is only improving dark magic damage. So this wouldn't change the numbers here. And we don't have anything else on there. Okay, good. I would feel better if we shot against you. Okay, we see 490. Yeah, exactly 494 is our baseline. So yeah, no increase. Let me check if I didn't do that. Yeah, no, see, 490, we're still seeing that. So yeah, there's no big increase. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, it does not scale off of gun damage. I think we may have even tested that. So yeah, but anyways, now I want to see what happens if you pump a ton of companion damage synthetically within the spell shot's tree. Not spell shot, the Spore Warden's tree. Which, by the way, again, spell shot is still probably the best because you could buff both spell damage and Spore Warden damage, but not really because there's a lot of value to be gotten into another thing. Anyway. Also, when you have on-action skill whatever, you're able to get more damage through spells. Like, it's weird. When you activate an action skill, you activate your spells, you get more damage. There's some of those enchantments out there, so that's just kind of built in. But this is going to give us a little bit of companion health, but a lot of companion damage. Excellent. We have gun damage, no. Action skill cooldown, no. No ability damage. We know it doesn't scale off ability damage. Yeah, we just have crit shots, increased gun companions damage for a little bit, which honestly might be huge for this because they count, I think, as guns, maybe. Well, we can just see. Gun critical hits, we could test that if we wanted. We'll push that eventually, but we just got synthetically 40 companion damage, so we should see a buff with this. Let's take off our shield, or our thing, just because I don't like having any blood in the water. None. All right, so we have a bunch of companion damage. Let's see. We have, yeah, 648. 648's a little bit better. Yeah, it seems like it scales way harder off of spell damage because we have 648 right here, and that is, where's the crit? 182, which is a little bit low. Oh, no, it's a little bit. It's like 2% more, but it's very little. So I think it scales almost minusculely off of that. Yeah, 180 I'm seeing a little bit of 643. Yeah, so we're seeing consistent crits that are pretty high, but ultimately, and we see 1,000 every now and again. Well, that's just because of my companion. So your companions definitely count and scale harder off companion damage. But I do think your Pixies scale enough off of companion damage to where I think it's relevant. So if I could give you guys advice, and this has been my literal experience, but this is just me being like, I think this is working because it's melting things really fast. But I would say, and honestly, we could just stack the deck and we could even put even more companion damage. Why not? Let's just do that just to see. So now we have a shit ton of companion damage because it's not really fair to say what's better. Also, I realize. Yeah, so now the damage immediately jumped up to 700, which we weren't seeing. So it is increasing slightly, but it's minuscule at best. But with that being said, though, your little mushroom is actually doing a little decent damage for us and not having anything backing him up. So not bad. But, this is a big but, I would suggest that you guys don't do this. I would suggest that you guys slap on some spell damage. The reason why is because not only are spells just insane in this game, but there's also this. This is the ideal combo that I think y'all should run. It's this right here. So essentially, so we have a bunch of spell damage built in right here. Volatile is excessive, but I digress. We also have this. When the Fate Maker or his companion kills an enemy, you gain a stack of 20% increased damage to your companions. And this lasts 15 seconds, and this stacks up to 5 times. That is a 100% companion damage bonus in one necklace. And there's virtually nothing for spells. There's this, which is when your Fate Maker action skill's on cooldown. When you use your spells, you reduce your cooldown of your action skill, which is very good. And also when your action skill is gone, you get 30% bonus damage to your spells, which is good. But not 100 damage to your companions. Like, we've seen a 40% damage increase was a slight bump. But if you have both of these in conjunction, if we use our Pixies now, we chuck one of these, now we're seeing a 940, a 940, 1,000, yeah, 1,000. We see a 948, a 6 there. So that exponentially gets increased. But, and this is the big but, I don't know if it's 100% worth investing all into this skill tree, this one specifically, because the companion damage is good, but it's not that good, unfortunately. Gun critical hits increase damage, and I think we have gun critical hit chances increase. So we have a 50% chance to increase our gun critical hit chances. Let's do this. Wait, I just want to see. Okay, so it's like the same frequency of crits. Yeah, same frequency of critical shots, which is okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, we're melting things, and I have no skill points. We're literally just standing back watching things get melted. But the point being is, I don't know if that one works too well. I think they work, but nothing to the point in which it would make it useful, like actually wanting to get that investment. But let us head back to the thing, and let me show you guys what I think is happening if you really want to build for Pixies or companions. And this is a little bit of a spoiler for a build, but I don't plan to go this in depth with the build video, so that's why this is a little bit long. Forgive me. But let's respec one more time. I'll meet you guys back there when we're now rocking the spell shot. Also, just to show you guys something, just because we're here, where is it? Faithful Thralls. If I put 3 or 3 in this, I have 1 because I have my Hydra guy. I have 2 because they both spawned in, so I have 2 on a base because of my mushroom in that. But if I throw this, it does not count. If I throw my guns with wings, it counts. So guns with wings counts as Faithful Thralls, but they do not count. It only counts as gun damage, which to me seems like an absolute nonsense thing. Okay, spell shot time, baby. Spell shot. All right, so this is the stuff that's interesting. So we know our baseline and nothing has changed. So we're right back to ground zero. I should take off that spell though, because yeah, that's gonna take. Also, I should take off all this stuff just because I want to get back to our baseline testing. But that is how you can get some pretty good damage out of your things. Is that Faithful Thrall things? Also, I never got to show you guys the power of this because I didn't kill any enemies to get stacks, but this would have ramped up exponentially. Anyways, also another great option I should mention is this one. Fate Maker's critical hit chances increase your companion's critical hit chances for 6 seconds, which is you're gonna get a crit within 6 seconds. So we're basically gonna be like critting with our spells, critting with all our companions. It's just gonna be better. We're gonna deal more spell damage. They're gonna have a higher chance of critting. It's gonna be great. Okay, so we're back to square one, and we're still testing Pixies. So let's go to our Pixie weapon. Perfect. Okay, so now let's start investing in some points. This is something I'm curious to see. So now we're back to our baseline, but what happens if we do this? So basically, our spell damage is now applied by 30% or 45%, sorry, to our gun damage. So gun damage, 45% our spell damage. Now, we don't have any spell equipped, but if we slap on a what do you call it? Just any spell, really doesn't matter, but we got to make sure it doesn't really affect us. After casting a spell, you gain melee attack damage. Perfect. So yeah, it's not going to give us much of a bonus, but we're just playing off of that 200 bonus damage. So we should see an increase in our guns damage, but do we see an increase in our Pixies damage? The fact that we're holding a spell now and we're using the baseline throw of it. Okay, we're seeing 758. That's it's a good bit bigger, better than what we were having. So we were normally doing 544 in a critical hit. And also I'm seeing a lot of 226s, which would make sense. That would increase 180 was where our low end was. So that would make sense that is now buffed up to that. Okay. Yeah, and that's about a 40% increase. Okay. Or 40% of our whatever spell we're doing. So if we had a high base, like 1,000 damage spell, I think it would be exponentially better. In fact, we could test that real quick. What if you find the best spell? Because we're not casting our spell, that's why I got confused, but picking a spell. Okay, so this one seems pretty good, but I don't know if it accounts for like the thousands and thousands of damage, but let's see. If I now throw this, no, I'm just seeing 750, so I didn't see it change that much. Yeah, no, now we're doing 900 damage and 470, which yeah, so now our non-crit is actually, our non-crit stayed the same. It's our crit that's gotten a little bit exponentially increased. Okay, we also have this, which is doing 2000 damage. So let's see if that changes the conversion, so it can't read ×3 maybe. Let's see. 1000 damage, 620. Yeah, so basically our on the low end, well, that may be that like weird thing. I mean, still 620 is still an increase. That's not a huge increase, but maybe when we start getting more math in there, maybe. Yeah, I mean, honestly, 560 was our non-crit, and I'm seeing 620 to stuff like that on our high end. So I think that makes sense for. But now here's the question: do we go with spell critical chance? I think we go with spell critical chance. Let's bump that up. We're just gonna ward because it's just too good not to have. Spell cooldown rate, that's always nice to have, but the fire rate, so this is the other thing. Pixies do not benefit from fire rate. So if we got a shit ton, so we're not gonna be able to see, so we increase our damage in any way. The one thing that our damage is gonna increase because I'm gonna get a lot of stacks of spell weaving. In fact, let's get the maximum stacks of 8. And let me show you guys what can happen. Okay, so we have 4 stacks, 5 stacks, 6 stacks, 7 stacks. Okay, so now you guys can see that now we're consistently hitting for 1000 damage, 1000 and 300 whenever it doesn't crit. But we're also, what do I want to see? You can see that our shards, our little guys, are not shooting exponentially faster. So that's not how it happens. So you guys might be like, but it's not like, you see, we're melting things now just because we have stacks. We have no skill tree investment. That's how good these things are on a passive. We have no weapons, we have no spells, we have nothing amplifying anything, but it's still melting things. So yeah, it's not shooting particularly faster. They might be firing faster. I might be a goddamn liar. Holy shit. Fuck, I guess we gotta test that as well. I mean, I think it's just because there's so many out in the open that it looks like they're attacking faster, but maybe they're attacking faster. Okay, how we're gonna test this is I do think I have a special thing somewhere here which increases my attack speed. There it is. Okay, good. Thank God I have one. After casting a spell, gun damage is increased, sure, but fire rate is increased by 30% passively. Okay, so when you cast a spell, we should see a difference. But let's chuck our things, get a bunch of stacks again, so we're having a fair metric. So we're kind of scaling based on the highest metric that we have. 8, 6. Okay, we have 8 stacks. Let's throw one more just to be safe. Okay, so they're attacking pretty quick. Pretty quick. Got that freeze framed in your mind? It's pretty fast attack speed. Okay, now let's do this. Let's attack one of those, throw these, make sure we have enough stacks, make sure there's 3 in the air. Fire rate matters, I lied. Fire rate totally matters. It seems like, at least to me, that seems like an exponential increase in their like aggression. I don't have any bullets. But no, fire rate looks like it actually does matter, so good. I'm happy that we bought that, actually. That actually is not a bad investment. Is it better than a cooldown rate? Depends on if you're going to get some things in here, but I digress. The other thing I wanted to test, the last thing I have to test, because I don't think there's too many other things here, when the Fate Maker scores a critical hit, the spell damage is increased. Bonus gun damage. So this takes my gun damage and feeds it into my thing, but they're not counted as gun damage. Yeah, this only gives me this puts my spells in my guns, but not my guns in my spells, which is what I want, because my guns are counted as pixies. Anyways, Fate Maker deals increased gun damage. I don't know if that would increase. I don't think gun damage makes that much of a difference with our Fate Maker's thing. This, however, gun critical hit chance instantly restore your thing. That just to show you guys, but this is the main thing I wanted to test right here. So it's 5 out of 5 this. But anyways, whenever the Fate Maker casts a spell, his gun deals bonus damage of the spell's element for a duration. So that's a 10% damage bonus conversion. This is kind of proving that pixies don't count as gun damage at all. All right, so we have cryo damage, and we have a fire spell equipped, so we should be able to see, I just want to see if we have fire damage now out in the ethos. If we shoot an enemy, one of these shots should eventually be fire, no? When the Fate Maker cast a spell, that's the problem. I need to cast a spell. Okay, so if I do one of these, bang. And now, do my pixies It looked like I seen one fire dot there. But maybe that was my guy. Oh yeah, we got picked up, thank God. You know, that was fire. Okay, yes, it's working, but barely. It's doing nothing. Okay, well, it's doing basically nothing, but that's something. That's something. 10% of my damage for 8 seconds. I am seeing little tiny fire dots. I thought it was my Hydra, but it's or my Lich, but it's not. You have like one version or one thing like that will impact, but then you will see more impact later. It's up for 8 seconds, so we should be able to see it long before all that ends. Let's see. Let's make sure that's up. That's gonna impact. It's fine. Now we're looking for that dot. It's an 8% chance. Everything's dying too quick to even see. Shit. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I was just seeing one instance of some sort of weird barrel blowing up, but my pistol should have it. So maybe your Pixies, because I don't know, that would check out to me. It would make it so that you're, yeah, so like when I shoot, yeah, now we're getting fire damage, but my Pixies don't seem to be doing that. Okay, so yes, no, it just applies to you shooting the gun. As soon as you throw your Pixies, they are now considered spells. Gotcha, so they do not get the benefit of that skill. So that's not worth investing in if you're trying to buff up specifically your Pixies alone. But what does work, again, something we've established, is this. Faithful Thralls does increase all of your global damage, which is nice. So put some in there, put some into this. I do think Companions, put 1 point into this at the very least. It will give your like everything else more damage in that regard. But again, this is considered a spell mainly, so we're gonna put some more points into that. We're gonna put some points into this because this is going to increase our spell damage. I think this might be bugged, but still worth putting in there just for right now. We're going to want some more survivability, so we're going to put that in there. And this one is actually interesting because I wonder how this plays. Whenever the Fate Maker deals spell damage, there is a chance for there to be an elemental explosion. Oh, I wish I had more of that, but we can test that. It's a 20% chance, but it also scales off ability damage, so that'll be interesting. But yes, so now our Pixies are going to start doing bleed, and they're going to start melting. But I want to see, yeah, there's an explosion happening. So that's how you want to build it. There's a tiny little micro explosion that's happening every couple seconds because we're constantly, yeah, that's so cool. Okay, so you want a lot of this in Pixies. Let me go back, and this might be the build that we're going to use. I hope you guys still watch my build video, even though, but for the people who stuck through it this long, that's definitely what we're going with at this point. But the question is, and this is where I kind of give you guys the question because I don't know, because it's not much of an incentive outside of this, but what do you guys want to go for your capstone? Spell shot and the other one, it's kind of fine because your spells are kind of a secondary thing. For me, I like running Hydras because they're just good, and I like running that damaging enhancing one because that does that just increases all of your damage. That ward that increases your spell damage, that increases your gun damage, that increases your companion damage. So it double dips, and that's why your Pixies will just eviscerate things if you have this specific combo going on. I can't show you guys yet because I gotta respect my skills. But this is what we're gonna be rocking for our character and our kit. But yeah, gun damage I don't think is that worth it because I don't think gun damage scaled up our damage that much. But I do think I'm gonna go spell damage on my rings, and just because I have a lot of good rings. And then I'm gonna go with the increased damage over time with just getting kills stacks damage and just lets you melt things with this. Also, fire damage and spell shot damage is just too damn good to pass up. And of course, my class of choice is easily this one. Yeah, now that we know it scales off of companion damage, that's going to be excellent. And also, spell shot will mean we have amplified spell damage, and then we're going to chuck this on as well. I'll explain the intricacies of my build within a video where I can just talk my ass off and be done with that because it's just kind of a complicated mess. But yes, but I do think I need to change this. The increases gun damage because gun damage isn't exactly what we want. We want stuff that like increases companion damage and fire. And there is a specific perk I have on one of my shields. It's this one. Whenever the Fate Maker's Damulich uses Hellblast, which is just what we use when we cast a spell, increases our companion's damage by 30%. Now, it seems like our Pixies massively scale off of our spell damage and a little bit off of our companion damage. Very little bit off of our companion damage, but still something. So it's something to consider, especially when you don't have many options to increase your spell damage in any way. There's not, unless you're using action skill stuff, increases like spell damage by 40%, which is not bad, but is it better than this? I don't know. Yeah, it's better than also just having a fun with some magic. I don't know. But again, this was not even that good and was still melting things. So imagine if you had one that it was ×2, had something like this, on spell cast increases elemental damage across the board, turned into a pixie, was ×2, had a decent damage type, was a pistol because they scale higher off of damage, maybe had some good substats as well. Just should be excellent. But last, ladies and gentlemen, that would be what I would suggest to you. I was surprised that I seen like them doing this AoE splash because they were detonating this. That just totally confirms that they're spell damage and companion damage. But guns with wings are not damage or companion damage. That was something that surprised me. We specifically amplified a shit ton, like 40% or 30% of companion damage, and seen really no bonus. So yeah, and then every time we've seen something bigger, like 1,000 or something, I think that was my Demi-Lich. Well, I thought my Demi-Lich did like specifically dark magic damage, which is why we sometimes see dark magic damage occasionally, but not really, because we were making sure to get far away from certain enemies. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure by the time I've edited this and got this out to you, I'm sure people have probably already talked about it, but this is something in the heyday of the game that people kept getting wrong, I think. Or maybe they weren't, so maybe I misdid stuff. But I did my best to neutralize myself as much as I possibly can and consider why people may have been going wrong, which to me was the spell shot stacks and the fact that Pixies count as spell damage. But that was an answer I needed, so now I know what to build for. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of spell damage amplification things. There's a lot of on spell cast, get XYZ, or on action skill ability usage, get spell cast damage. But I don't want to use an action skill. I like using 2 spells. So yeah, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you kindly for your time, and goodbye, my friends.